We've all had those little and big missteps in our lives. What if they weren't right or wrong? What if they're just choices on the way to consciousness? Welcome to the Missteps of Consciousness TV show with Hayden and Julie.
Yes.
Okay, welcome everyone to Misfits. Welcome to our weekly show. So today we have got Paul from Ireland as our guest, and hi Hayden, how you doing? So today our topic we're going to be talking about is what if you could never fuck your life up? And right now, I can tell you, everyone, and Hayden, and Paul, that I actually really get that I've really fucked my life up. I just feel like, I don't feel like I'm a victim or anything. I just feel like my life's not going the way, I just feel this real fuck up. So our guest, Paul, from Ireland, will really talk, well, we'll be talking about what if you could never fuck your life up? Like, I think I have just fucked up with lots of different businesses and things like that. So that's our topic we're going to be talking about. So hi, Paul. How are you?
Hi guys, how are you doing? It's an absolute pleasure to be on the show, and my specialist topic today is fucking my life up. So how does it get any better than that? So, just to give the viewers some insight into this, so a couple of weeks ago we got in contact and we said we were going to do a talk around sex. Then I was supposed to be on last week. I put the wrong date in my diary. I ended up being at the cinema and I came out and I had a message from Julie saying, "Hey Paul, where are you?" And it was around 3 hours old. So I was like, "Oh, holy fuck, shit, I've totally fucked up." So I was with my girlfriend and I was like, "Oh no, shit." So I ran all the way home. I was like, "Oh my god, I fucked up so badly, so badly." So I was like messaging the guys saying, so sorry. And they were just like, "Look, totally cool, just the space of allowance." And with any fuck up, that's what it is. It's allowance. It's back to the 5 elements of intimacy, but just having allowance for yourself. So whatever happens, whatever's going on, it's all good. And it's like, really, it's that aspect of the sexualness that we truly be. And it's like sexualness from a place of peace, from a place of joy. And it's, what if nothing's ever wrong? What if we just can't fuck up no matter what we do? And it was how this conversation started, and that's what I love about Access, is it just goes left, right and centre. It goes everywhere. I was saying this morning when I was out for a walk, I was like, okay, I was like, shit, I'm going to be on a TV show and I'm nervous about it and And it was like, I said, okay, what energy, space and consciousness can me and my body be to be the biggest fuck up ever? And it just brought up loads of energy and just cleared all that. And it's like, it's the thing is, there's nothing wrong. There is not, and it took me, and I know I'm still getting it, like Dane says it lots, like, what if there's nothing wrong? And the thing is, there's nothing wrong. And it's like, there's some days when I'm like, oh my god, I fucked this up, I fucked up that, I fucked up the next thing. And it's like, what if there's nothing wrong? We just start again. And that's the beauty of it. Yeah, it's just, I think it's just, this whole world, this whole reality is based on wrongness and judgment and how wrong we've got things, and it's a big fat lie. And it was earlier on, Hayden was saying he'd have to bleep out everywhere that I cursed, and I was like, oh shit, that's going to be a lot of bleeps. So we might end up losing some of the some of the magic of consciousness.
Don't worry, we don't bleep.
So yeah.
So you're talking about having allowance and going back to the 5 elements of intimacy. And what I really want to talk about today on this show and I hear this a lot from lots of different people, and I'm actually going through it already, is when it's not clear with what other people are saying, or other people are saying to you, you're not being clear, and then things get quite heavy and muggy and really, like, and then, in business, not being clear, or in friendship. And so, and then you have that, like, you really do have that sense of feeling like you really have fucked up, or the other person has fucked up.
Yeah.
So we can really have a look at this, and let's just use, because I know I'm not the only one that goes through this. So can we just look when people you're not being clear, or the other people, and it just turns up to be like a pile of poo. Like right now, it just feels really grumpy.
Yeah.
So what would you say? You talked to us about the 5 elements of intimacy and definitely having allowance. And when you said that, Paul, wow, my body actually went, oh, God. That's what I've just been trying to show you all yesterday. So thank you for that, Paul, in 5 minutes. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, let's have a conversation about what I've just brought up about being clear and people not being clear, and what people can receive and hear, and what can you receive and hear too. I've just thrown a lot in the conversation.
Yeah, no, totally cool. Just throw it in the pot and we'll mix it all up. Yeah, and it's for me as I go through this process and things start to change, and it's like, it is sometimes people don't fit in your world anymore. And it was like, for me, it was like, for a huge amount of my life, I was Pathetic Paul, and people loved Pathetic Paul because Pathetic Paul could be put in a box and he'd do exactly what I was told. And it's like, he'll sit in this box and he'll just fucking sit in his shit and do it and just be a good boy and fit in there. And it's, in the last couple of months in particular, it's just, I'm done with that. And it's like, I'm choosing something different. And it's having allowance, but also there's another component where you've got to be tenacious and actually say, okay, I demand change here. And I've been demanding change of myself. And actually stepping into a new aspect of yourself and being the dynamic leader. And it's like, I think Gary and Dane show us that with the level of vulnerability they're willing to be. And like the question I often ask is, how vulnerable am I willing to be with myself? And it's like really showing up for myself. Because once we show up for ourselves, first and foremost, then everything else is okay. If we don't show up for ourselves, we're lost in somebody else's universe. And I wonder how much that lack of clarity is actually other people's lack of clarity. Because this world is a big mess when you look at it, in terms of famine, in terms of disease, in terms of illness. And we're bringing a new aspect to the world. And as we bring that aspect of ourselves, we start to reveal areas of ourselves where maybe we haven't been so kind to ourselves. And that's where the allowance comes in, that we actually expand and open and allow ourselves to be ourselves and say, wow, this doesn't work for me, or that doesn't work for me, and whatever it may be. And that, cool, let's change it and be open to the change.
And that's where, I know I'm bringing it back to fuck up, but that's where that element of fuck up comes up as well. Ironically, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the receiving of that, yes.
Yeah, but what if fuck up is not fuck up at all? What if it's a giant lie, and what it is it's chaos? And it's chaos and order. We're being told so much that things need to be orderly, they need to be lined up, it needs to be a structure. And it's like, what if it's actually nature is just no order. It's just chaos. Like when a hurricane comes through a jungle, it doesn't say, oh fuck, I'm not going to blow so hard because I might break a branch. It just blows. And that's what we are. We're that energy, we're that dynamic force, and we bring that to the planet, and that's our gift. And it's like exactly as what Julie was saying earlier on. So much of the stuff that we're picking up is a lot of places where people have tried to lock us into order, and we're bringing chaos to it, and then we think, oh, we're doing it wrong. And like, I'm a giant chaos walking. When I walk into rooms, people go, oh, holy fuck, he's going to break something or he's going to fuck something up. Or like, someone's like, how about we do it this way or how about we do it? And like, most of the time they're like, oh, fuck no. And it's like, when I came to Access, it was like, fuck yeah. It's like, yeah, let's try this, let's try that, let's try. And there's a great freedom in that, like, and it's allowing that chaos to really flow. Like, if you can imagine just like a hurricane just flowing through your body, and it's like, how much chaos do we have to instill into our bodies to allow our bodies to be us, to allow us to be ourselves?
And I'm hearing what you're saying, and like, I know with me, I'm this chaos, and then I try to put the chaos that I am into being ordered. So then when I am being the hurricane, and then it goes in, where I get that I'm chaos, right? So what can you, like, what it is?
I don't believe that for a second, Julie. No way. No, you're not chaos. No way. I'd never guessed that.
being the chaos and still being what people can hear and receive. This is where I would say that's the space I still really, like, you know, I'm this chaos just, you know, being. But then that I have awareness of what people can still receive and be. And I see, like, I see with Dane, he's this intensity. He is chaos. And he's still able to give what people can hear and receive. And so for me, it's like, it's really interesting. I give too much or I give too less. Yeah, it's like, it's that or not enough. And so, and then I'm like this, you know, from chaos, and then I jump to order, and I'm like, whoa. And that's how I am right now. So,
yeah.
So when people, and I know I'm not the only one, everyone out there and who's going to watch this video, you know, now or in the future, I am not the only one that gives, you know, like, gives so much or gives so less. Thanks, Aiden.
Doesn't bring anything up for me, don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm totally cool with that. Totally cool with that.
So what would you say on that? Like, you know, like...
Yeah, because it's like the fire hose of awareness that they sometimes use that term, where it's like we're like a fire hose and we're just whizzing all over the place. And it's like, because it's like all of a sudden we've recognized this part and this energy and this beauty within ourselves, and it's like, fuck me, I'm going to go out and tell everybody, and I'm going to fix them all, and I'm going to go over and tell you exactly what's wrong with you, and here's how you fix it. And it's like, superior motherfucker. And it's like, and I've done that. I totally get that, where it's like, okay, we found this amazing thing, but exactly as you say, Julie, it's what can people receive, and being aware of that. And it's like, sometimes it may only be a small amount, but a lot of the time in this universe, it can be small gestures that make a massive difference. And like, when you think about Rosa Parks, you think about...
You can plant seeds, like, and sometimes I just plant little seeds, and, you know, cool.
And in those small gestures, a lot of the time, what we don't recognize is the impact that we have just by being ourselves. And like, you think about Rosa Parks when she refused to move in the bus. And like, that ended up starting the civil rights movement in America, that ended up starting a campaign that ended up having the first black American president, who ended up being a really good guy. And like, you look at it and you say, wow, that started from one woman refusing to move in a bus. And it's like, that could be any of us at any given moment. It can be a smile, it can be a look, it can be a cup of tea. Like, that's the world changing. Like, so often it's like, okay, we have to be this dynamic leader out talking to thousands of people. It can be the simplest of things. And it can be sometimes just being being kind to ourselves in terms of, whoa, I'm lost in this shit. I know it's not mine, but I'm still lost in it. And it's like, but having allowance, once we have allowance for ourselves, it can change. And it will change. It always does.
Having allowance is it's just an interesting point of view. It's not having a point of view of what's going on. Like, it's just having allowance of what the energy is. Is that what allowance is? Or what is allowance to you, Paul?
Yeah, to me, having allowance is just having allowance for where I am with any given situation. So whatever is coming up, it's like, okay, having allowance, like, okay, this is coming up, and there's times when it requires to change, and okay, we need to take actions to change it. But there be other times when it's like, wow, okay, this is coming up, but it's like, how can I be a kind and nurturing space to myself? Once you tap into that energy, so you just tap into the energy of just being a kind, nurturing space for yourself today. So it's late here in Ireland. It's early for you guys, so you've got up super early to do the show, and I really appreciate and acknowledge that. And just so, what would be being a kind and nurturing space for you today?
Yeah, and that's going back into the question, asking that question. You know, you ask the question like, what would be the nurturing space that you could be for you? And you're actually asking what energy you can actually be for you. That's what I'm getting. So the other thing that I've been really, what you're talking about, and I've heard a few facilitators in Access Consciousness really be talking about it, where when people get really excited, that can kill creation. But when you are functioning from the space of being joyful and being, help me out, guys, the other word is being, it starts with E. And you're really...
Excitable?
No.
Enthusiastic?
No.
Embodied?
Yes, that's
enticed?
No, what Hayden just said.
Hayden, correct. You got it right. I fucked up. No problem. Yeah.
So having that energy of like anything is possible. When we talk about that, and then because I know the difference when I'm joyful and enthusiastic with what I'm choosing and what I'm creating. So that's the energy. When we talk about that, that's me. And so when we talk about being excited, that's not me. So I know what the energy is me. And it's really interesting. So can we talk a little bit more about that? Because, again, it comes into, like, what we're talking about, you know, being the space for ourselves and being that nurturing energy for ourselves. And so in this reality, so many people get so excited, and then it just dies. And I know when I'm coming from that space of excitement, then it eventually just fizzles out. When I'm functioning from that, like choosing from being that space of joyful and, you know, curiosity and all like that, it's like you can see I'm just like this child, like ready to pounce onto what else is possible. So, yeah, what is the difference between the two different energy? Because I've been hearing this a lot.
Yeah, so and I suppose there's, in terms of excitement, there's the excitement where it's trauma and drama, where people are functioning from, they're kind of, okay, we're going to get, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, or wherever it may be. And then there's also the space of joy, where it's like we know it's going to create something wonderful in the world. And it was a word that was going around my head this morning is soothness. So it's an ancient Irish word, So it's a Gaelic word, and what it means, there's no direct translation for it per se in the English languages. It translates as peace, but it also translates as the joy of peace. And I think that may be what you're linking in with as well, in terms of like that sense of joy, and there's a peacefulness in it, and there's a steadfastness in it, that it's like, I get this is creating more in the world, I get this is creating more for the planet, and what's the planet going to be like in 5 years, and 10 years, and 20 years, and 100 years. And when this show came up for me, it was light, and I was just like, okay, I haven't done many TV shows before, pop, all that, but it was just it's following that energy, and I know one of the things that Gary sometimes talks about as well is speaking as an invitation to consciousness. So it's being that invitation. So whatever may be required in any given moment, it's allowing that to be that space as an invitation to consciousness, to be the most conscious person in the room. What action would I take here? What would I say? What would I be? What would I do? And it's back to the other aspect of the 5 elements. It's interesting the 5 elements are coming up, but trust, in trusting ourselves. And I think that's some of what you're linking into, Julie, is when you know that the projects that really get you moving and get your mojo on, it's like, yeah, they're the ones I want to follow. They're the ones that make my heart sing. And it's like, yeah, and they're the ones to follow, yeah.
I had something and I've just lost it. Yeah, I lost it.
It's interesting, actually, because one of the things that Gary talked about before as well around enthusiasm is when people speak with enthusiasm, sometimes people think that there's an alternative motive. So if somebody comes along and they're super enthusiastic, it's like, okay, there's going to be, maybe there's an alternative motive here in some way. But when people speak as an invitation to consciousness, and to say this is who we naturally be, it's actually a far softer space, and there's no force in it, there's no control in it. It's from a space of, this is what works for me, this is what I enjoy. What do you enjoy? I acknowledge you as who you are. I acknowledge me as who I am. And it's because so often we get locked into the points of order that it's like, this person is rich or they're poor or they're black or they're white. It's the extremes of the spectrums. But so often we're just looking to be ourselves, and that's it. It's real simple in lots of ways. Yeah.
When you're talking about the invitation, being the invitation to consciousness, what gets brought up for me is like being so present. It's being present with every energy. And I think like the last 48 hours has been so uncomfortable for me because I've been more present with everything that's coming up. And yeah, I can be still like judging and making some things wrong and making other things. But being so present with that, without a point of view, is still, there's been a softness in my whole universe with it too. And so, consciousness, gets thrown around in this reality and people talks about. And so with access consciousness, the definition I love, consciousness includes everything and judges nothing. So when you're totally being present with all energy, and that's including yourself, then you are the invitation. You are the gift. You're definitely the amazing gift on the planet and with the universe, because you're just being so present. So that's by what you're saying, and it's really cool. It is being the invitation, and it is really saying, well, what if you are so present with your life, with everything? I'm not just saying life. That, whatever, and then you can follow ever, is joyful and follow the energy, because you'll be so present, and you're trusting. You'll know what to choose, because you will trust and you'll follow, and it'll be like an adventure with everything. Because you'll be present with everything. And consciousness, I've heard Dane say this too, and I've heard Gary say this. Consciousness isn't always comfortable. I mean, I've found that, like, in the last 48 hours, it really hasn't. When you're being so present and you're looking at money, and when I'm saying you're looking at money, I'm talking about being present and looking and really being present with the choices that you're choosing and have been choosing. It's for me, it's this adventure, because there is a different possibility. I can choose different, but I can be really present with everything, with every energy. And I know people will say that can be very overwhelming. They will use the overwhelming energy. And I would say that's where I've been choosing a little bit different, because it's been looking at, well, it's not that overwhelming energy. It's like, wow, I'm actually choosing something different. And it's really turning up different. And by not checking out or avoiding anything, it's like all this energy is around you. So it is like a hurricane, like we were talking before. And that's the chaos that we truly be too.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God you said chaos.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I think Julie's a giant hurricane waiting to explode. Yeah, it's like boom. Yeah, pumping through her universe. I can only see it moving through her body. Woo!
I've been, doing the order, trying to order it into my body, or order it into this reality, where it's just been like, well, yeah, I'm the chaos.
Well, I was gonna say.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, with everything you said there, like the entire time, all I was getting was, it's chaos. You're chaos. It's chaos. Look, you're chaos. You're chaos. You create. Like, you are literally chaos. And yeah, not the order of what other people might do. Yeah. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah.
And there's being an allowance of that. Yes, you're chaos, but so many people, it's like, you're like, I know that I'm the source of my own chaos, and I am chaos. I'm no separate from anyone. But it's really just knowing that people are not choosing chaos. That's really cool. It's like the last time that I was chaos, I nearly destroyed my family.
Yeah.
I was a little girl, so I remember when I was chaos. So it's that point of view. Yeah, it is that point of view of being the hurricane. And then just being that wildfire, and what people can hear and receive too. It's really, yeah, cool. Okay, be an allowance.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think like what was coming up for me was just it's like the visual of the Lion King. It's being the king of your own reality, and it's like this is what works for me, and it's new for all of us. When we, like, for some people in our lives, we can't say no to them, or we can't say whatever it may be that we say is undefinable. That's the limitation that closes us down. And then we realize, wow, it's a big fat lie. I'm going to go over and tell that person to go fuck themselves. And next thing it changes it, and it's like, wow, the energy shifts, because it's like that person allowed, and for me, this is a big, I allowed that person to put me in a box. And it's like, once we take that power back, because the thing is, nobody can control us unless we allow them to control us. So when you take it back and say, I allowed that person to control me, cool. How silly was that? Okay. And then, with no judgment of your words, I'm going to choose something different. And it's like, as you choose something different, that person either steps up or they step out. And that's the way it goes. And it's kind of like they either step into your life to become a major contribution, or they step out. And it's because it's the intensity of awareness that Hayden was just talking about there, that you're willing to be. And when we're willing to be that, that's when it gets exciting, because it's like, ooh, what else is possible? Infinite possibilities. And it's like, there ain't nobody going to stop Julie.
And it's being that leader. It's being your own leader. Yeah. It's being your own.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting, because so many people still want to be a community, and you can still contribute to everything. You know, when you are your own leader and your own leader of your own reality, and then you can contribute to everything around you. And, you know, and that's where I'm still, it's like, you know, it's not, I'm not talking about baby steps, but it's like I've got new feet, and I'm, you know, like, you know, when a baby starts walking and they start treading and they're trying everything, but they're really wobbly. It's like I know this energy, but it's still like I'm getting used to my feet. Is that a good way to put it? Like, really. And I fall over, I knock people down, I take people out.
It turns out she's a super potent hurricane. Yeah. And the visual that comes up for me is like, it's the Lion King, where they lift up the Lion King and they're like, the Lion King. And everyone's like, hey! And it's like, yeah. I think you'll enjoy that. I mean, it's as Gary says as well. Like there's a tenacity required. Like, and it's like, let's say 25 years ago, he got this information, nobody wanted it. And like, he spent year upon year upon year going around showing people, teaching bars, talking to people, building his business. And it's kind of, there was a massive tenacity, and there must have been thousands of times when he wanted to walk away from the business. And it's like, he was still willing to do it because he knew it created more possibilities. And it's a willingness to do that. And I remember I asked him one time about Jesus Christ, and I thought, oh man, he's going to take my head off asking him this question. But I got there was something in it for me, and he said, get the energy of if Jesus died in his bed as a 70-year-old man, and then get the energy of Jesus dying on the cross at 33. And he was aware of what he was creating, in terms of, he didn't know that it was going to get bastardized and it was going to get swung around and changed as it was, but he knew what created more. And for all of us, it's in truly being the leader, it's being willing to go there even if nobody follows you. And so often in this reality, we're validated if we have followers. And it's like, I'm successful if I have followers. And it should be, fuck no. It's actually the opposite way around. I'm willing to go there no matter what. And that's something that there's times where I have to have a lot of allowance for myself, because there's still times where I won't go there. And it's like, come on, Paul, you know there's more in you. Like, and it's kind of being willing to actually go there no matter fucking what. Having that tenacity to say, yeah, I'm going to keep going. And it's like, we all know when we start this journey, it's like there's so much shit comes up and different things come up and the whole lot. But we have that level of allowance for ourselves, number one, but we also know deep within our knowing that it creates more. It creates more on the planet, it creates more possibilities, and it's like we're willing to go there.
That's so amazing. Like, you were just, sorry, I just want to talk about the Jesus stuff, because that's so cool about having, like, he had awareness of what he was creating. And it's like, I know, like, with, and really knowing and trusting what you know. I know I'm going to bring up the 9 trannies, and we do talk about that in Access Consciousness. And even before Access Consciousness, I always knew the possibility of magic and the ability of things that we are really capable of doing. And so it's like, it's really following your knowing and aware. And like, I really like how you just put it. Like Jesus didn't know that it would be bastardized like the way. And Buddha is probably the same too. And, a lot of these amazing beings of life have been, quite bastardized, and we may need to cut that too. But it's really it is really interesting that really is choosing what you know and then following. And Gary and Dane are that. Like you're saying, 25 years ago, like he just went, I know this is going to create more, and he kept choosing it, and he kept, So yeah, thank you. That just inspired me to just keep choosing and keep knowing what I know. Yeah, thank you.
And an important point of that is not to have a point of view of how it turns up, because we don't. And just for our viewers, just for anybody who's new to Access Consciousness, the Gary and Dane we're talking about are the two founders of Access Consciousness, Gary Douglas and Dane here. So the thing is, you can never have a point of view how it's going to turn up, because you can never know, and it can be. It's like the adventure can be in so many different ways, and it's like recently I got a new bicycle, and it was like it arrived yesterday. So I'm like, how is this in any way related to Jesus and Buddha? But it's about following the energy. So I went and I tried this bike, and I really liked it.
We're not making religion wrong or right. That's not what we're talking about here in our conversation. We're talking about following the energy and being the leader. Yep, go on, Paul.
Yeah, no, totally. So I was looking for a new bike, and it's like I really enjoy cycling. It brings lots of joy to me. So I went and I tried this bike, and I found a super bike, and I was like, wow, this bike is just, I love it. And it was just like, I was like, this is the best ever. And then it wasn't available in my size, and then I was like, okay. And they said, we can give you a black bike or a white bike. And I was like, no, I want the red bike. That's the one I want. I don't want black and I don't want white. So it was like, so then the shop owner went out and he said, look, Paul, I've checked all across Europe. It's not available. It's sold out. Sorry about that. I said, okay, cool, no problem. So then I went to another bike shop, and they said, same story. Sorry, sold all across Europe, across Europe, not available. Won't be available for at least another year. So I said, cool, no problem. So, and it's that level of tenacity to keep asking questions, keep following the energy. And it's as you follow the energy, things show up. So I found this little bike shop up in Dublin that had one bike left. I'd say it was probably the only one in Europe that had that bike, and I was like, okay. So rang him, and then I had to get our department in work, so it was a bike to work scheme, and they had to sign off on it, and they were like, oh, we're too busy to do it, and I was like, so I just kept pushing, and just being the demand. And it's like sometimes we perceive that consciousness is kind of flippy floppy, or it's like it may be airy fairy. It's not at all. It's willing to be yourself and to back yourself in every given moment. And exactly as you were saying earlier, Julia, in terms of when things are coming up for us, that's when we put that's where the change is. And it's when you come into the cusp of the change, what happens is all the stuff that's holding you back, all the points of order, they come up, and they come up to be cleared. And the fastest way to clear any point of view is to choose. Choice creates awareness. So when you choose, you change that, you change your point of view, and it opens up new possibilities. It's like opening a door. We sit there with our hand on the handle, frightened to open the door. When we open the door and we walk through, say, fuck, this is the most amazing thing ever. Why didn't I choose this years ago, or weeks ago, or months ago? And it's like, acknowledge how much we're changing, because a lot of people go through their whole life and they don't change. And it's to acknowledge how much we're willing to step up.
And thank you, Paul. You just described me. So everything, like I'm just on that cusp of change. I've been changing. And it's like everything that has been holding what I've been holding myself back is just coming up, and it's really cool. It's like you could be like pocking and potting, but like you're saying, just choose, keep choosing. Wow, that's really cool, and my voice is changing, so and my body's
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah, and is that your body getting excited? Because it's like it's aware of what's around the corner, and it's like, holy fuck, there's a whole different world out there, and I'm willing to step into it, and it's willing to go for it, and having the tenacity at times, and also having the allowance, having the trust, having the honor, and it's like having the vulnerability, having the gratitude, and it's like I'm willing to be those energies, and it's like it doesn't necessarily always show up all at once, but it shows up in the most magnificent ways, and that's the beauty, and that's the adventure of consciousness. It's the adventure of living, and it's what started Gary on the path, it's what started Dane on the path, or whatever term you may use around that. Yeah.
Never give in, never give up, and never quit. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Like, yeah. I know.
I'm here to be cute and make profound statements.
Yeah.
You do run my well. Like,
Well, you know what they say about Steve and Chitissa, that Steve will talk for like 10 minutes and then Chitissa will say like one sentence and everyone will be like, holy fuck, that's the most profound thing ever. We thought she was just a pretty one. So it's like he just delivers a boom. Yeah.
He does it. Like, I'm the chatty one. And we got that awareness with Katie. Katie showed us, because lots of different people. And it wasn't against us or for us. It was just like, oh, Hayden needs to step up more and just different things. And it was Katie was like, you two are just like, you've got this compatible energy. Like, no matter what comes up, you'll work around it, you'll go over it, you'll go under it. And that's what you just said. Like, it was like, yep, I'm the one that will chat, and then Hayden just, just like, that one liner.
He's the quarterback sitting in the pocket. Boom! There you go.
All the silent assassin, Like.
Yeah. I mean, he's cute little face just sitting there in the corner, being pretty. Yeah, and it's one thing actually to acknowledge is what if in 500 years' time there's somebody sitting in the screen here and they're like, wow, this is an invitation to consciousness. It's so light, it's so fun, it's so easy, and that's the way it should be. It doesn't have to, and like for me in my life, like it was so much hard work, force, it was like toil, and you've got to work hard and all that stuff, like, and it's like, no, that doesn't really change things. It's like, I've seen family do it, I've seen other people do it, like, it's, where's the joy, where's the happiness, where's the lightness? And when you guys invited me on, I was delighted to do it because I knew there was a lightness in it. And then it brought up a whole pile of shit in my world where it was like, my first TV show, I don't know what do we talk about? And it's like, that's what I love about Access. It's like,
you only spent
yeah. But it's willing to trust what you know, and then also to choose it. And it's like, okay, there's something here, I'm willing to choose it. And it's like, yeah, let's see what shows up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm really grateful. I'm gonna cry. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm really grateful.
This has been fun, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But
keep talking.
Keep going.
Yeah, no, for me, for points of order, what I always get is it's like boxes. So it's just like it's the boxes that we put ourselves in, and we recognize at some stage we get the awareness that we're actually in a box, and then we lift the lid. Next thing I realize, shit, I thought I was pathetic Paul. It turns out I can be super cool Paul, or I can be fun Paul, or I can be serious Paul. I can be whatever aspect of myself I want to be, but I don't have to be just that one aspect. And it's like, I'm sick of putting myself down. I'm done with that. And it's like, yeah, okay, choose something different. And it's exactly as we were saying earlier on, being the Lion King in our own lives. It's actually stepping into our lives and being that energy.
And when you're talking about that, what's coming up for me is no matter what other people are choosing, I'm going to choose what works for me. And it's been really interesting with the journey and what I've been choosing, and especially with some of the business choices and with yoga and all like that. I've been choosing and following the energy, but I've been choosing what other people like, or I look at what other people have and go, oh, I really would like to have that too. Really not being with me and going, okay, what do I really truly desire to have for me? And it's really when we're talking about all of this, it's the energy of really, truly, when you're so present with you and you're choosing for you, then you are choosing for everyone else, because everyone is included, because it's just not separate from anything. But when you're being, and it goes back to the 5 elements of intimacy, when you're honoring you and you're choosing for you, and then you're trusting you with your own knowing, and then you're vulnerable with you've got no point of view, and then you have gratitude for you, and then you have allowance, then what you choose will be like that like a hurricane or the chaos, but like a wildfire, because you are truly being present with you. Wow.
Yeah. Julie just nailed it. Bang.
That's really cool.
And you'd like to add in?
Oh God, I'm trying to think, but that's it. I'm trying to think, and I just completely fried my head.
Yeah.
And then that's not you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think.
You don't think.
Yeah.
I like that. When I say that to people, I don't think. Oh, you must think. No, I don't think. I love
And I think one thing for me is to acknowledge what you've created, because you've been doing this for 4, 5, 6 months, and it's like obviously you came up with the idea and then you instituted it, you sat down, worked through it, you've invited all the people, and it's like that creates so much more in the world, because as I said, in 500 years time there may be somebody listening to this and they're saying, wow, I get what the guys are talking about. We don't know what it's going to create. We put it out into the world, we don't know, and that's the joy of it. Like I'm sitting in my bedroom in Ireland, here in Australia, and it's like, how incredible is that? Like that we can communicate. Like 100 years ago, they took guys across Australia for robbing a loaf of bread, and it's like to Van Diemen's Land, and it's like now we're able to communicate. Like it's incredible, and like that's miraculous. And it's like so often we don't acknowledge that we can breathe oxygen, that we can send out CO2, that our human body, just there's so many gifts in the world. Yeah, so many gifts.
When we came up with the show, I was sitting there and I went, I really love to do a radio TV show. I love just talking, and I love conversations, and I love conversations that will create more. And I did ask who would really love to play with me, and Hayden actually was the one that I went for. And when I asked him, it was like, okay, let's go. And it has been a venture with Hayden and I with the show. And what's been amazing with it too is by willing to have these conversations that no one else is really willing to have, and really, having too. And then really having a look of who we'd like to have on the show and who the show would like to have on the show too. So it's been really easy to ask people. And, like Mose has just gone, yeah, like it's light, you know, and they're on, you know, it's really cool. And for Hayden, and for us, it's a gift because we talk to these amazing people and beings that are choosing something different and choosing more for them. And, you know, it creates for us too. So I know with these shows, we've been doing a lot of these shows lately, and it just really does create more. And so, you know, what you're just saying too, it's acknowledging that what this show, you know, it doesn't matter only, you know, 5 people view it or 1,000 people view it. It's what, you know, what we are choosing for and what it's creating too. And so, yeah, what you're saying is really acknowledging that. So let's acknowledge missteps of the show and, you know, and every guest that we've ever had from the start of the first episode to now, Paul. And both of us and the show of what it is creating on planet Earth and what it is creating for the future by being present on the show and for the universe. Yeah, thank you.
Gratitude. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
it's been wonderful. And turns out we're not fucked up at all.
We are not fucked up at all. Well, we're coming.
Okay.
The show's usually 30 minutes, so it's coming up to the hour.
Yeah.
So thank you, Paul. It's just been amazing.
Yeah, it's been
It's
been fantastic. Yeah, and I'd be delighted to be back on any stage. It's been really cool, really, and I'm very, very grateful for what you're creating. As I said, in 500 years' time, there could be somebody sitting down and watching it on the screen and God knows where and say, "Wow, I like what those guys are saying." Yeah.
And we are looking to, the one thing that we are creating is workshops, missteps workshops. So we would love to have other facilitators to co-facilitate with this too. So it'd be another creation too. So yeah, it'd be so cool to have you.
We'll come to Ireland.
Yeah, I'm totally up for that. Totally up for that. Hayden, I think you'd look great in a little leprechaun outfit. Yeah, just suit you. Yeah.
Oh, potatoes!
You'd be able to pull it off.
Awesome. I'm like 2 meters tall.
We're gonna come to the end of the show, guys. Thank you, Paul, for being our guest. It's been amazing. And
It's been a pleasure.
Next week, everyone. See you next week.
Talk to you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Hayden. It's just been amazing.
See you later.
Next week.
Thanks, Hayden.
And that's another week done and another great episode. Hope you all enjoyed it as much as Hayden and Julie did. See you next episode.